Good afternoon, and welcome to the City Club of Cleveland. My name is Jan Roller, and I am president of the club. Our speaker today is Shirley Ann Jackson, president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, the oldest technological university in the United States. She was described in Time magazine in 2005 as the ultimate role model for women in science. And the National Science Board called her a national treasure in 2007 when it awarded her the prestigious Vannevar Bush Award for a lifetime of achievements in scientific research, education, and senior statesman-like contributions in public policy. Dr. Jackson holds many titles for being the first, such as the first African-American woman to earn a doctorate degree from MIT, the first woman to become president of Rensselaer, and the first African-American woman to hold the position. And again, the first woman and African-American to serve as the chairman of the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. She has been awarded 10 honorary doctoral degrees. The list of her activities, achievements, and awards is long and incredibly impressive. Her sure and steady rise is based on her contributions to science and research. I could provide you with Dr. Jackson's description of her area of scientific interest, but I can barely pronounce the words of her description, let alone understand the description. So suffice it for me to say that her interest is the study of the subatomic particles found within atoms, the tiny units of which all matter is made. From 1991 to 1995, Dr. Jackson was professor of physics at Rutgers University, where she taught and conducted research on the electronic and optical properties of two-dimensional systems, and concurrently served as a consultant in semiconductor theory at AT&T Bell Laboratories. She was then tapped by President Bill Clinton to head the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. While there, she is credited with making sweeping changes to the Commission's reactor oversight program. She also discovered an emerging gap of workers, particularly women and minorities, in the STEM workforce. In other words, in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. She led the Commission from 1995 to 1999 and was then named Rensselaer's 18th president. Last April, President Obama appointed Dr. Jackson to serve on the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. Dr. Jackson, it's a true honor to have you here in Cleveland and at the City Club. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson.
Thank you. Needless to say, I'm delighted to address this distinguished forum. And this afternoon, I would like to offer a few thoughts about freeing our newspaper headlines from a particularly unhappy phrase, the jobless recovery. There are many diverging ideas about what ought to be done immediately for the nation's 15 million unemployed, and a number of them are contained in the jobs bills passed in the House and the Senate within the last week. However, there is, or should be, remarkable consensus on the long-term solution: investment in scientific discovery and technological innovation and their translation into new enterprise. In 1987, economist Robert Solow was awarded the Nobel Prize in Economics for his work demonstrating that technological progress is crucial to economic growth. Indeed, after World War II, the United States emerged as the world's greatest economic power, largely because it became the world's greatest scientific and technological power, thanks to an energetic wartime partnership among industry, universities, and government in research and development. This was extended and institutionalized after the war through government support of basic research in universities and advanced training of students in science, mathematics, and engineering. There was concomitant investment and support from and to industry, and the creation of robust university-government industry partnerships in research and development and in education. Over and over during the past 60 years, breakthrough scientific discoveries have led to new technologies, which have created new industries, which have generated millions of good jobs. Today, emerging fields such as renewable energy, nanotechnology, and biotechnology promise to improve many lives and spur economic growth. In 2008, in fact, the United Nations Environment Program estimated that renewable energy alone could create 20 million jobs worldwide by 2030. Yet, no matter how much we want and need these jobs, the industries of the future will not belong to America by fiat. Developing nations such as China, India, and Brazil also are determined to make a technology-driven path to prosperity. Research and development expenditures worldwide doubled between 1996 and 2007. Developing countries are investing substantially in higher education in science and engineering in order to create a culture of innovation and a workforce ready for the industries of the future, while the United States, in a recent Information Technology and Innovation Foundation study, is ranked last of 40 countries on metrics of rate of change in innovation capacity. That is, in human capital development, information technology infrastructure, and overall economic performance. Fortunately, technological progress is not a zero-sum game. A world that devotes more of its resources to research and education can only be a better world. However, it also is a world where the products of yesterday and the jobs attached to them are commoditized instantly around the globe. Continuous innovation is demanded of us if we hope to retain our high standard of living. Yet in recent years, the United States has suffered a loss of focus when it comes to innovation. We do not always capitalize on our opportunities. For example, because we did not put incentives in place over the last decade to create a vigorous market for clean energy, the majority of leading solar panel and wind turbine companies now are located outside the United States. Both business and government have become somewhat cautious in supporting research projects, preferring less risky, short-term projects, rather than the long-term, high-risk basic research that yields the most transformative innovations. We no longer export as much as we should. Over the last decade, the assembly of computers and their components has moved to Asia. And our trade surplus, even in high technology goods, has turned into a substantial deficit. Possibly most worrisome of all for our future is a looming gap between our economy's need for scientists, mathematicians, engineers, and technologically skilled professionals, and our success in producing them. To meet these challenges, we must turn then once again to that historically powerful partnership of industry, government, and universities. This partnership remains vital, but there are weaknesses at the intersections of the three sectors that must be addressed. We need to turn our innovation economy into an innovation ecosystem, one that offers groundbreaking ideas and appropriate multi-sector support at every step on the road from scientific discovery to new industry. History and the life cycles of technology suggest 4 elements are necessary for such an ecosystem. First, strategic focus. Second, transformative ideas. Third, translational pathways that bring those ideas into the marketplace. And fourth, the capital to make the system run. Financial, human, and infrastructural capital that includes advanced manufacturing capacity. Let us begin with strategic focus. President John F. Kennedy's 1961 charge to the country to put a man on the moon before the end of the decade offers us an example of the startling power of a strategic grand challenge. By setting such a goal, he unleashed a flood of investments in science and education and ignited a new spirit of discovery that not only benefited the scientists of my generation, but the United States economy as a whole. Now, the younger members of today's audience might dismiss such bold leadership talk as a folktale from a simpler time.